Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast. How's it going, Jeff?
Going all right. How about you?
It's going well. It's going well. Looking for houses. We may have some good news, on that front
Yeah,
soon.
you were saying before we started hit record that things were looking up in that front.
Yeah, it's been coming like we were talking, coming up on a year of trying to find a house, man. It's been a real it's like a second job.
A lot of people I know that have, well, pretty much anyone I know that owns a house always say the same thing. Like, you go and you think you're gonna bang it out, and then a year later, and you still don't have anything.
Yeah.
It's a big decision. It's not something you want to just jump on.
Yeah, exactly. One of my wife's friends, they were looking for 3 years until they found a house.
Wow. Yeah, one of my old bandmates was looking for, well, very like couple years before they finally got the place that they actually wanted. And the area you want kind of changes from time to time, and
Well,
uh
that's for sure what we went through. Like,
yeah,
it's a little further away from my mom than I wanted originally, but it's still way better than the 2 hour drive I have now to get up there.
absolutely. And we're gonna give out the address when you get the house
Yeah,
here
you
on the
guys, I'll make sure everyone
podcast.
has my address and
No more calls, just show up to Mike's
just show up
house.
at the house. Just make sure you come with like coffee or something like that,
Yeah, there you go.
pizza or whatever.
Awesome, man. Well, okay, other than potentially finding your home, what else have you been up to? You been checking anything out?
Dude, I just been working like a madman lately, and that and band practice. We got those dates coming up this month, and that's been like a big sort of effort to put things together to get the set together for the upcoming shows and the logistics and all that sort of stuff. All that stuff's pretty much sorted out now, but it's staying sharp, for the
Yeah,
tour, for the dates. I don't want to call it a tour, but the dates.
right. And you guys are doing like a 3 hour set, right?
Yeah, we got visuals, you know,
Multimedia.
multimedia event,
Nice. Yeah, your show's coming up soon here.
Yeah, I'll be hanging out with you and Randy.
I know. Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, actually some people hit me up about going to the show in Connecticut and the show in New Hampshire might be cool. There's like some people contacting me about going to that show as well.
New Hampshire seems to have some cool shit going on. I've noticed. Like a guy I know opened up a record store
Yeah.
there, and
Hmm.
in Dover. So seems to be some stuff happening in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Oh, this whole trip was really about going to Montreal.
Yeah,
But of
yeah.
course, we picked the one day out of all the days of the year to play Montreal, and it coincided with the day that Emperor was playing in Montreal.
Wow. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, so we had to like shift our plans. So we're playing Quebec City now, which it's still conceivably a lot of people from Quebec City will go to Montreal, but you have a
Yeah.
little bit of a fighting chance of maybe doing having that show go well.
The only time I played there was Isis Anodyne show.
Oh, yeah. Was that
That
Sherbrooke or Quebec City?
I think it was, you know what, now that you mention it, I don't know because both of those sound like right. Like
Yeah.
but that was what, 1999, 98. This was a
Something like that. It
long
was a
time
long
ago.
ass time ago, man. It was like I remember specifically that show that the kid that was running the PA system was playing TV Baby by Dead and Gone.
Great album.
Like he was playing that record. I don't it's funny the things that you remember.
It is.
Actually, you know what, dude? That might have been like 97.
You know what? It couldn't have been because,
I think L was still in the band and said he was only in the band for a couple of years, like not even maybe a year.
well, Isis started in 97. We didn't play our first show until 98.
All right, so I have a feeling that this may have been late 98. I think it was
Because
winter.
I think Jay Randall was in the band at that point too. It wasn't with Chris.
Yeah, it was the four-man lineup of Anodyne.
Yeah, you. didn't have who was your original drummer? Was it Taz?
May have still been in the band, and
I can't.
Ale may have still been in the band.
Ale was definitely still in the band.
Yeah. Oh,
I
so Mike Swanson was probably playing drums for us, maybe. If it wasn't Taz, it was Mike Swanson.
I remember Mike. I was just thinking about him the other day.
Um, yeah, Mike Swanson changed his name to something else.
Like
Uh,
like a alter ego thing or
I don't know, dude. He was a very interesting guy. Um,
yeah, he was. He was backstage at our show with the Melvins and Joaquin Phoenix was there. I remember that.
He probably was known as his new name at that point.
Yeah, like
Because sure,
2002.
yeah, shortly after he left Anodyne, he disappeared for like a year, and then he resurfaced as it with a different name. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's true.
It does sound crazy. I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he identified himself as when he was at that show with you guys, but yeah, great drummer though, really sick drummer, talented guy. He plays
Yeah.
bass. He's got a bunch of other things going on with music. But
Nice.
yeah, that was I think that was might have been Sherbrooke, which is I guess a suburb of Quebec City.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. I remember a German Shepherd almost bit me. I remember that.
Yeah, Jay Randall was in the band. That was when I think we talked about like session 9 or something, maybe.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, yeah. That was a fun little trip we did.
Yeah, we I like those early days of playing shows like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I think yeah, we were working on the Red Sea at that point, and Mike and Jay had just joined the band, and a lot of that era is kind of hazy for me.
I mean, honestly, dude, at this stage, it's we're going back over 2 decades, so yeah, it's
I know it's crazy. I was like a child that
yeah,
back then,
yeah. I
but
mean,
and
I
here,
was a full-grown man, but I was quite younger.
yes, yeah, yes, you were. And here you are, man, still fucking doing it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I was saying that yeah, New Hampshire has always been kind of like a weird, mysterious state for bands I played in, at least. I remember speaking of Anodyne, I remember we played in New Hampshire in the probably shortly after we did that run of dates with you guys in Canada. And it was we played this venue, this DIY venue, and there was one person there. And the band that played before us played, and they left. And then the one person that was there left, and we played to a completely empty room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit. I remember when Anodyne did their West Coast trek, you guys stayed with us in LA for like a couple days.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you played this place in Glendale in the afternoon.
yeah.
And it was literally
Just you
just
guys.
just us. It was wow, I was really surprised.
That dovetails with my ideas of like people putting shows on that probably shouldn't be putting shows on and like scheduling them for times that they shouldn't be having shows at.
Yeah, yeah. Afternoon shows, I mean, the hard days of hardcore matinees are they long gone? They're long gone to me anyway.
Well, I mean that I thought my memory serves me correctly. That day was like a weekday too. So having like like a afternoon weekday show for people might be difficult.
Yeah, not for me. I didn't have a job at that point.
You had a job. You were rock and roller, man.
Yeah, I was a rock and roller, and you were the one who pointed out that we lived on the same street as one of the Manson murders.
That's right, man. I remember
Waverly,
being
Waverly Drive.
That's correct. Yeah, it was the La Bianca murders were nearby.
I had no idea. None.
We went up there to try to find the house, and it was the number was changed.
Right, we walked.
Yep.
It took us like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, I think it's this house. And yeah, the number was changed and the house is like, way back, hard to see.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
Mm,
that was a good time, man.
it was a good time. And now, you're playing Hamden. I mean, you lived in the New Haven area. You must be kind of familiar with Hamden.
Yeah, I'd never been to this venue though, the whole time I lived up there. And also like I've always wanted to go there and I've always wanted to play a show at this place. And I know that I mean, we'll see how the show does, but like I mean, well actually I feel pretty good about the show. I mean,
Yeah, you
Manic,
could. Yeah,
yeah,
they.
Manic Productions do a good job of promoting. So yeah,
And I think you're playing the cellar, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay. Well, there's cool places to eat around there too. So, maybe we'll get there early, have a bite.
we'll definitely be there early.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah, we're playing Philly, and then we're coming home, and then from here we'd like to leave, just get the hell out of town, man.
I
It's
hear you.
better to beat the traffic, especially down here, the traffic, man.
Yes, yeah. Connecticut traffic is no fucking joke either, I'm discovering.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, we'll roll in. I mean, we still we'll update you. It's
yeah.
I think before we head out on this, I'm gonna get a sandwich from that Talercio's place I was telling you about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Hell
were
yeah,
talking
dude.
about it. I've never been there. If any of you guys follow me on Instagram, I've been posting these videos from this sandwich shop in South Jersey. That's not South Jersey. I call it Central Jersey.
Okay.
On Route 35, called Talercio's, which is like these insane like sandwiches. And my drummer's been there a number of times, but I've never been. So I think that day we're gonna grab something from there and check it out.
Nice. You should put together like a VIP ticket where you get to go have dinner with the Necromaniacs and Tombs.
Yeah.
You have to pay your own way though.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, you gotta pay your treat.
Yeah.
But
Nice, man.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to this. It's a
yeah,
work night, but hey, whatever, man.
yeah,
Sometimes you got to lose a few hours of sleep to hang.
yeah. Yeah, by the way, Talorcio's is not a sponsor of this podcast, but
Not yet.
yeah, a
Okay.
nice sandwich.
Nice sandwich. Yeah, God, I love that fucking New York Italian pronunciation of things, where somehow calamari becomes golamar.
Calamari,
Golamar. Well, forget about it.
yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
gabagool,
yeah, gabagool. Yeah,
it's literally
capicola.
spelled with a C, but
It's all about dropping, like, like lasagna becomes lasagne.
yeah.
That's a New York thing, isn't it?
I'm going to say it's specifically a New York, New Jersey thing because when you go to Italy, they don't speak like the animals in the United States speak.
Very, very, very true.
Yeah.
Okay, what have I been checking out? I haven't watched a damn thing except I picked up a documentary the last time I was in LA, the last time I went to Amoeba. I wasn't collecting records at that point, which, oh well, a bit my loss. But I picked up a Blu-ray of Can't Stand Losing You, Surviving the Police,
Huh?
based on Andy Summers' memoir,
Oh
I
wow.
guess. So it's a documentary about the police that kind of is told through the eyes of Andy Summers, the one seemingly grounded human being in that band. If you know me, you know I am a massive fan
Yeah.
of the police, and really, really enjoyed this documentary. I think the police are one of the greatest rock bands of all time. I love them. If you're a police fan, this is a must watch. It's a quick watch. I don't even think it's an hour and 20 minutes. But the
I should
scene
check
of
that out.
you should, man. There's a scene where Andy Summers is doing karaoke in Japan with Every Breath You Take, and these people have no idea they're doing the song with one of the guys playing on the song. It's it's very, very cool. Love the police. Um, I'm still going strong in collecting records. I don't know if I talked about this one. I picked up one of my big records I wanted. It's not hard to find, but it seemingly was never around when I was trying to find it. The Residents, not available. Are you familiar with The Residents?
We touched on this. I'm like only passingly familiar with them, and I think a lot of it is what you told me about them, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I brought it up. There's a documentary about The Residents on, I think it was, I watched it on Tubi, called Theory of Obscurity, which if you're kind of new to The Residents or you want to know more about them, that's a fantastic place to start. I
Check it out. It's on
highly,
Tubi.
it's on one of those, or Pluto, maybe.
Okay.
I have all these apps I didn't know I had.
Actually, you know what? I guarantee you it's on Night Flight.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I believe it is. I think someone else, I don't have it, but I know someone that does, and I believe he told me he saw that on there.
Night Flight's sick, especially if you're like you grew up in the 80s. It's like that was kind of late night. USA Network, um, viewing for like, young and upcoming weird kids,
That's I really miss like the days of like MTV where you turn it on at 1 in the morning and it would just be weird shit like short films, things like that, animated
Yeah.
films. I have really same with like HBO. They would do little like fill-in short films like between like say they had a movie that was an hour and 45 minutes long and they wanted to start the next one on the hour. They would play like a quick 10-minute film in between, and they were always weird.
The night flight stuff, that stuff when I was a kid informed so much of the music I listened to. I mean, I saw like Fields of the Nephilim, like videos back then, like Bauhaus and like that kind of stuff was like introduced to me through that, really,
Right. Yeah. The first time I ever heard The Residents was on a little short I saw on MTV called The Adventures of Slow Bob in the Lower Dimension.
Remember that?
Yeah, it was directed by Henry Selick, who would go on to direct The Nightmare Before Christmas. Everyone thinks Tim Burton directed that. He didn't. Henry Selick did. And yeah, The Residents did the music, and I was just enthralled by the whole thing. I taped it on VHS and watched it over and over and over again. And I always remember seeing The Residents in the credits.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
sick.
yeah, that informed a lot of my where I would go in my music listening.
Well, actually, one real quick thing I wanted to mention is I received yesterday the fourth and final volume of the Lovecraft editions put out by Chiroptera Press.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so all four volumes are out now, the complete set, hardcovers, incredible artwork. It's like I don't know how many versions of these stories I have already, but I'll keep buying them if they keep coming out in these like incredible packages. But it's nice to have all four volumes now going up on the shelf. It looks great.
Absolutely. I'm also on the hunt for some of the Cadabra Records stuff, which I believe is tied into all that, right?
Oh, well, it's the same. Cadabra Records and Chiroptera Press. It's like Jonathan Dennison, and
Right.
it's his operation. So like they're the same company basically. And
Okay.
yeah, they have like it's like spoken narrations of the stories, and which is great on vinyl only. And
Um,
they have put out some film scores too.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah,
hard
so
to
that
find and expensive.
they're even expensive new. Like when you
Yeah.
buy them, I can't even imagine now because I think all that stuff's going out of print soon.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you have any and you want to get rid of them, contact me. Because you're not gonna find those albums at like Newberry Comics.
No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
very, very
yeah,
specialized kind of thing.
yeah. I went in to there's a Newberry Comics in the mall in the town I live in.
Did you go in
And
there?
of course I go in there like once I buy record sleeves there and
Oh,
occasionally
cool.
flip through the bin. I bought OK Computer there last week. It's strange that we all used to work for Newberry Comics. I was thinking that like it's such I don't know if it's just a completely different store or I'm just old now. I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Back when we worked there, like I sincerely doubt that they have the collection of scumbags working in the warehouse now that they did when we worked there, honestly.
Yeah, I'd be impressed if they did. Um,
Yeah.
so many Boston people from the music world work there. I mean, ISIS basically, like I met what would become the ISIS lineup through there, except for Turner,
Yeah.
who I already knew for quite a while.
Yeah.
But that's where we got everyone in the band. I'm like, well, yeah, I know this guy, I know this guy. Like
Yep.
it's wild. And you go there now and like they look at me like I'm a fucking narc. Like I'm like the old guy.
Well, they're just different kids these days too, man.
I know, man. I know. It's just completely Newberry Comics used to be a destination spot for serious, record collectors and music fans
Well, back in the 90s too, there were less locations too. There was like now that they're like popping up. Yeah, they
everywhere.
yeah, they're all over well, definitely all over New England.
Yeah. I mean, when I worked at the warehouse, there was Probably like 17 locations by that point, you think?
Hmm. That sounds about right.
Because I remember picking orders and would have like the store number of where it was going. And I remember there being, more than 10. But the one that's in my town didn't exist yet.
No, no. Yeah, and that's the thing. Back then in the 90s, like the owner, for all I know, the owner sold it. I don't even know if Mike Dries is involved anymore.
No idea.
Yeah, but it was like the very, very beginning of that dude having these like world domination,
Mm,
aspirations of
yeah.
moving it, because the warehouse was in this like, kind of sketchy building, it was still kind of like one step above like, like very distro or something like that. You know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah, absolutely.
Like it wasn't fully like the juggernaut it became. There
Yep.
was no, it wasn't like this state-of-the-art warehouse. It was like basically just a bunch of scumbags that played in bands,
Yeah.
couldn't really keep jobs because of being on tour, like living there, working there rather. And then you're just, record people, like people who like music and weird shit.
Yeah. It was cool, man. That was like the cool job to have if you were a rock dude in a band.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, yeah, like I said, everyone worked there, man. It was like so many different bands. It was like you guys, there's like Blood for Blood guys worked there, like, probably bands I don't even know about work there.
Oh
There's
yeah, quite a eclectic group of people and musical tastes.
And you couldn't lose your job. You couldn't get fired. Like you literally had to like steal or fight somebody to get fired. Like there was no way to lose your job there ever.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you just disappear for a month and come back and you have your job.
I'm sure if you and I went there, like right now, there'd be maybe one or two people still there.
Yeah, probably. But my visualization of that place, because it's in a different building now. Like it's in some other area that's
Oh,
like
really?
it's not in that building is long gone. I don't think that building exists anymore.
Oh, wow.
They moved into like this state of the art, like material handling facility. You
Okay.
know what I mean? So I visualize it as being one of these like uh systems that has different operations there, like different companies, like different stores, and then just
Yeah.
one master like picking operation going on.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
That yeah.
And like the buyers probably just work remotely or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that was like the gig to get. It was funny how there was like a division between the people who pick the orders and then the buyers.
Yeah.
Remember that? They were like these like the elite, like people who had desk jobs, and then there was like the plebes like us who like,
Yeah.
do manual labor and stuff.
That's right. Terry was a buyer.
Terry,
Terry from 27.
oh, Terry Christopher. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But she was like in the jewelry department though for a while.
Yeah, she moved up.
Yeah, and then maybe she still works there. I
I
don't know.
think yeah, I want to say she does. I have no idea. I saw her not that long ago. It didn't occur to me to ask.
There's that one there's that one lady who worked there that was I always had this like crush for on her. She was I forgot her name, but she was in that goth band.
Oh, yeah, I remember. That's
I don't want to use her name, but like,
yeah. I get it. Yeah.
yeah, I remember like when I was trying to sell records, I would interact with her all the
I remember there was a unisex bathroom in there, like a big, not like a one person bathroom, but like
time.
10 or 12 stalls, and there was no boy or girls room.
Nope.
So, if you had to do something more serious in there, you're a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, it was like way ahead of its time, man. With that.
Yeah, it was a cool place. I mean, I remember being 15 years old and driving up with my parents on a day trip to Boston, going to Newberry Comics for the first time. And that's where I got like, like my punk starter kit, buying Operation Ivy, Jawbreaker's first album, the Green Day out that compilation had all the early stuff. Green Day was still on Lookout Records back then. All that stuff. Like that's where I got like my first of a lot of bands that would, change my life. Neurosis, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, the Newbury Street location, like the flagship location, I'm sure it's different now, but that was the one that had like all the sick like bizarre,
Yep.
obscure shit there. Like you could go there and buy like all these weird imports and DIY shit, like stuff on Ebullition Records was there, and like you can also get like these like Throbbing Gristle, like records, all this weird stuff from everywhere, and also your normal shit too. It's cool.
Yeah, because I remember I bought all that punk shit, and my friend who I went up with was buying all industrial stuff. I was sort of transitioning out of that, but he was still like really in it.
Yeah.
Um, that store, it's on Newberry, but it's not in that building anymore. It's
Ah, fuck.
in it's in like the old JP Licks, I believe.
Oh wow, JP Licks, damn.
Yeah, which obviously isn't there anymore. But I remember going there, and that railing that I walked up so many times, I like, wait, did Newberry move? It's just a
Yeah,
little bit further down, just a little tiny bit. And yeah, it's completely a different thing now. It's like a hot topic now.
that was like totally the hangout spot. That railing.
That railing and that stoop in front of JP Licks, that's where all
Yep.
the FSU guys would hang out.
That was so random that they would all these tough gangster guys would hang out in front of the ice cream store.
I saw Big Tom out there almost every day.
Yeah,
And I would stop and talk to Tom. Tom was a cool guy. He liked cool music.
yeah, definitely. The first
Um,
time I saw the Swans, he was there.
oh God, that show
They,
in like 96 or 97.
they played at Mama Kin.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't go, but
Not
man,
even in the main room, actually.
yeah, no one really gave a shit about Swans initially when they were together. It was a very niche thing.
Yeah, it was like the Great Annihilator, and Jarbo was still in the band,
Yeah, yeah,
and
like
yeah,
the live album from those tours from that era is probably my favorite Swans album of all time.
yeah,
The
that's great.
Swans Are Dead, great fucking live album.
But that was a nice trip down memory lane, man.
Yeah, that was fun. Sorry, everyone listening who's not from New
Yes.
England.
So let's give a shout out to the other guys. Of course, if you're listening to this, you know already that we're part of a larger group of content creators known as the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. Kicking this whole operation off every other Monday, we've got Brandon Legion's Horror Wolf 666. And Brandon and I are back doing our Black Lodge episodes. So, be advised, those are coming out regularly now.
Awesome.
Up next on Tuesdays, we've got Into the Necrosphere, brought to you by the Grand Master Jackie Smith. Literally the only music podcast I listen to. I don't listen to anything else. When I want to listen to things of news about extreme music or interviews with people who make extreme music, I listen to Into the Necrosphere. Wednesday is we got two podcasts on Wednesdays. Of course, we have Everything Went Black, which is my personal podcast, as well as Iblis Manifestation, brought to you by Cheyenne of the band Trivax. Thursday is another double day. See how I kind of changed things up a little bit. It's Necromaniacs, Necro Thursday, which is what you're listening to right now, as well as day one of Soul Knox, brought to you by Carl Hikara. Friday, we have Spitball Media, an irreverent pop culture podcast. Saturday is a day off. So now we're moving into the spring months. So, start expanding, staying lighter out now. So enjoy the
Mm.
sunlight, that sort of thing. Because the darkness returns on Sunday when Carl Hikara brings you day two of Soul Knox. Carl and I are doing our Darkness We Use collaboration. The end of the road is coming close, man. We've worked through all of Wagner's horror stories, worked through all the Kane material, and now we're moving on to his pastiche work of Robert E. Howard. We've got a Conan novel that we're going to start on, and we also have a Brian McMorn novel that we're going to be doing, and then that's a wrap, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's it, man. That's a solid week of content for you guys. And now we're listening to the Necromaniacs podcast.
Excellent.
If you want to give us a call, you can call us at the Necro number 908-913-0782. 908-913-0782. This week we do not have any phone calls.
Yeah, man. Come on, guys. I like the phone calls. You and Mike always seem to get the phone calls.
No, we had one last time.
Yeah, no, yeah, we did. I get it, man. I'm
Yeah.
not very likable. I get
Come on
it.
now.
I enjoyed hearing last week's episode, Nighthawk, where we had a new listener from Portland. That made me happy.
Hell yeah. The word's
Yeah,
getting out. That's good.
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I kind of dig these neo-noir like sort of episodes too. It's kind of and what's interesting is that it really shows how adjacent the two genres are, you know.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Yeah, there are some films that are like debatable whether or not they're horror films or neo-noirs.
we talked about that last week when we were talking about your Seven episode,
Yeah, that's right.
and we have some interesting films we've been batting around to talk about in that sub-series ourselves.
Yeah, no, totally. As a matter of fact, I think Blood Simple was originally pitched as a horror film.
Really?
Yeah, I remember seeing something online about that film, and before they'd written the script, they, you know how like a lot some Hollywood world or filmmaking world, there'll be like a concept and a trailer that they use to
Mm.
get funding. So I might be getting the story. This might not be 100% accurate, but I think like they were pitching that film as a horror film, and then it turned into a noir.
Makes sense. I mean, Sam Raimi and the Coen brothers started as like kind of like one thing.
Mm.
Like they all worked together on each other's projects. And obviously Raimi went on to do more overt horror. I would love it if the Coen brothers made like an all-out horror film. I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. But we got a couple of their films on the list to
Yep,
talk
we
about.
do. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. You know, really cool. It also just sort of breaks it up a little bit too. And I think that there's a lot of those movies I've always wanted to talk about, but I just wasn't sure what the venue would be. So here we are.
Yeah, there's so many like great directors that we really don't get to talk about on this podcast because they really don't do horror films. But you add in neo-noir, all of a sudden you got Coen Brothers, Christopher Nolan, Nicholas Winding Refn. You got a whole new park to play in.
That's right. So that brings us to this week's feature film, Pulse, the original, not the remake. Now
Thankfully.
there was like two sequels to that or something like that, right?
Yeah, I had no idea. Actually, I knew about the remake, and I believe I've seen it, and I believe it was awful. I did not know there was two sequels though.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I stick with this as the the go-to for this story.
Yeah, Wes Craven was involved with the remake.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So this is directed and written by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, who also brought us Cure, which you and I
Mm.
covered.
One of the best
Um,
horror films of all time.
yeah, I mean, and this one for a very specific type of horror fan, this one fits into that as well, I think.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah. This came out February 3rd, 2001. This screened at Uncertain Regard section of the Cannes Film Festival back in 2001.
Hmm.
And I touched on there being an English remake in 2006 plus two sequels. Check it out
Yes.
at your own discretion. I can't advise whether or not it's good or not, but go for it if you feel brave enough. Uh, it is 113 minutes long.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thought it was longer.
Nope. The cast, Kumiko Asao as Michi Kudo, Haruhiko Kato as Ryosuke Kawashima. I'm trying to pronounce it the way he pronounces it. Koyuki as Haru Karasawa, Karumi Arasaka as Junko Sasano, uh, Masatoshi Yatsuo as Toshio Yaba, and I'm trying to think. That's probably uh, Kurosawa. Wait, that's probably all the main characters I think in this.
There is somewhat of a cameo from the regular Kiyoshi Kurosawa actor whose name I don't have written
Yeah, yeah. He
down.
he shows up. Wait, the captain of the ship, right?
Yeah.
Koji Yakasu Yakusho. Koji Yakusho.
That
as the
sounds right.
ship captain, and he was in Cure.
Yes, he's in most of Kiyoshi Kurosawa's films.
Yeah.
And I believe there's a director cameo in this. I believe he plays the man on the internet on one of the videos. I believe that is the one and only Kiyoshi Kurosawa.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
I apologize for mangling those names. You know,
you
it's
did a better job. You should see my notes, all the spellings. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck this says. It's just a jumble of words, letters. I mean, um, and Mike, you've seen this film before we decided to cover it, I would imagine. Yes.
yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah, this was my third viewing of this film, and sort of like interesting in the way when I first saw it, I was living in New York, so it was somewhere around like 2005 or six, and blown away, loved it. Second time I saw it, a little had a few more problems with the film. I find I didn't love it as much, so I was very curious what a third viewing would do for me. And so I got some thoughts about this
Okay.
one. Um, did you find this film hard to follow?
Yeah, definitely hard to follow.
Okay, yeah.
Well, all right. Before we get into this further, um, it's there's not a lot of like overt action in this film. You
No,
know what I
there's no,
mean?
almost none.
Yeah, there's not like any fight scenes or chases or anything like that. Or even like like monsterish moments or anything.
Yeah.
It really is about this sense of dread and impending doom that you feel in this film.
Yes, 100%. And that's what Kiyoshi Kurosawa, I would say, excels at.
Yeah. I think, frankly, in my opinion, this film portrays that to a larger extent than Cure did, really.
Sure. Yeah, I think that it more directly deals with those sort of themes. This is very much a movie that's more about ideas than action, as you mentioned. And
Yeah.
there's no bad guy to thwart or escape. Most of this story is told in silence.
Yep.
It's more about suggestions. It's more about these static shots and atmosphere. Kiyoshi Kurosawa builds dread by almost just having a camera linger on an empty hallway. And this sense of dread just builds in you. I don't know
Yeah.
how he does it, but I don't know that anyone does it better than he does.
Exactly. And there's two distinct stories going on, and but even the stories themselves are almost irrelevant to the concept of the movie.
Yeah, that's maybe one of the problems I had with it, but yeah.
It's more that this film is consists of just a series of things that happen that imply this condition, this dreadful condition that's happening, this terminal condition for all life, actually,
Hmm.
and and dwells in this like liminal space. Because if you notice, like it seems like the city's empty. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mentioned that. And that's not even like a gradual thing. It starts with this
Yeah,
sense of isolation and ends pretty much the same way. I mean, the opening shot is just this girl looking out into this vast, seemingly endless ocean. And then that's sort of like heightened by an overhead shot of this boat in the middle of just this huge open sea.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And and then it almost is like this is definitely like a weird tale.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, it is. I think it is because it's really there's no like you touched on it when you said there's no bad guy, there's no villain, there's no enemy in this film. It's like the enemy is just existence. Like reality
Yes.
is the enemy, or and even the sort of it's a ghost story essentially, but even the ghosts are not your typical ghosts.
Right. Like they're not trying to kill you. I think some characters talk about it like they don't want you dead because it creates more ghosts.
Yeah, yeah.
They just want your space.
So there's this sense of like this really pessimistic sense in the film, a very nihilistic. It has like qualities of like maybe like a Thomas Ligotti story in some ways.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. And it does remind me of some of the fiction that I've read by him too.
Yeah, it's tonally very similar.
Yeah, because you've been to Tokyo a number of times, and I've never been
Yes.
there. And this takes place in Tokyo, and my impression of Tokyo is that it's this bustling metropolis.
You know, it is, but you turn the corner and you feel like you're the only person there.
Really
Yeah, it does have
interesting.
these like little pockets where you go off of a main street down another street and you just feel utterly alone. Now, maybe that was, the jet lag or the not knowing where I am, but I remember having that sense. But yeah, you're right. If you go down like a main street, you're in fucking Blade Runner, you know?
Yeah. So, this film is a collection of those, I guess, those moments where you turn down a side street and you're completely alone. Because most of these, it seems like loneliness plays like a big part of the story. The burgeoning internet, because this film, it came out, probably was filmed in the late 90s
Right.
and, came out 2001. It was released in 2001. So conceivably, this could have been released, could have been written in like, 98 or something and filming 99 or something, like that. So, and back then, the internet wasn't what it is now.
Right. Although this film seems to predict some of the outcome of what would, then, the internet basically just took over so many people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, one of the things, like, Kawashima, that character is kind of like this Luddite, where he even says, like, oh, I don't, computers aren't my thing, you know, and
Yeah,
he's like,
it's
yeah, he wants to get online, to check it out. And so he gets like a DVD or, of some disc, a CD of whatever internet browser you need, and he installs it on his computer, and that's his entry point. But, he's like most people in that era, there was a before and after. Like the internet didn't really exist like prior to that.
right. And I think that is the entire point of this film is saying this is what's going to come of this, not in a literal sense,
Yeah,
but this sort of new technology will leave us further isolated from each other.
yeah. So the story, the main one of the main stories is Michi, and she's like newly moved to Tokyo, and she works at the plant shop with Junko and Toshio Yabe, and then they have a friend Taguchi who's been missing. They've lost track of where this guy is, and he's been working on a disc, whatever that means,
For the plant shop.
for the plant shop. I don't know, I don't know what that disc would be, but yeah.
Yeah, I was what that was the biggest mystery in the film to me. Um, yeah, and that whole scene, like the introduction of the character, that's a very Kiyoshi Kurosawa sort of shot where this big chunk of dialogue is happening in like one take.
Yeah. Yeah, so she goes to his apartment to try to find him, and he's like distracted and kind of like, you know, he's acting strange.
Yeah.
And she turns around and then he's hanging, he hung himself basically. And but in a weird way. Like the way he's hanging is like really uncomfortable because it's like he hung himself in a way that somebody who really wants to die hung himself.
Yeah, and it all happened almost like too quick for it to be happening in that moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like she was just talking to him and then just a few seconds later he's dead. And then when she gets a better look, he seems to have been dead for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like, who did she speak to? Is it like if she walked into the apartment and he was already dead, who is this other Taguchi that she was speaking to?
Right. Yeah. So this film just sort of like throws you into it. There's not a lot of setup. You don't know who these characters are just yet.
Yeah. So the disc that he's been working on is just like a loop of like all this imagery of Taguchi staring into the monitor, and then there appears like these like faces, like ghostly faces on a different screen though that's in the background.
Right. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what all that they find on the disc. And then we get introduced to, I say, the other storyline. I was very confused about like it took me a while to figure out that it was just two different things happening
Yeah, yeah.
that would later converge.
And granted, both of us have seen this movie more than once.
Yeah.
So you've seen it 3 times, and I've seen this. This is my second time watching the film. So it's
Okay.
like I still really, I gotta be honest with you guys, I still have can't quite follow the story because the story what I found is like you're not so concerned with what happens to the characters. It's more about the things that are happening around them that makes you like you sort of meditate on that more.
100%. Yeah. It's almost better to not try to follow the story and just sort of, like you said, meditate on what you're seeing and what are the deeper themes of the movie.
Yeah. Um, so Yabo receives these phone calls with just voices saying "Help me."
Very creepy.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool like audio stuff that goes on in this movie too.
Yeah, I noticed that too, like watching it and thinking like, oh man, these would make like great samples for something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And actually the score is really cool too.
Yeah, and it's used very sparsely. It's not wall-to-wall music. That's another thing about this. Like we touched on that there's no bad guy, but there's not a lot of like the typical things you would think of in a horror movie. There's no jump scares at all.
Nope.
Like the terror is just more about like what this film is trying to say and its ideas. And the ghosts are just they're just showed like they don't jump out at you. They're just sort of there, and that makes them scarier to me.
Yeah. So Yabo goes back. He goes to check out Taguchi's apartment, and then he finds this black stain on the wall, like right behind where Taguchi hung himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a printed note which the subtitle says "A Forbidden Room."
Right. And that's when we get introduced to the red tape.
Yeah,
It kind of reminds me of Cure in a way where people are drawing these X's on the wall. Um, people, I don't know if it feels more like instinct that they're putting the tape around these doors.
yeah,
Like they don't seem to come to like that as like a rational conclusion. They just seem to be doing that. Like something, an idea has gotten in their head and they're now like a different person.
exactly. Yeah. So the black smudges, uh, they sort of like indicate, I'm gonna say like the passing from one like the material world into this like ethereal world, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of visual motif comes up a lot in the film, and yeah, that's exactly the conclusion I came to as well.
Yeah. And so there's this whole concept of ghosts becoming a ghost and them bleeding back into our reality is kind of like the whole one of the main concepts in this film.
Right. Even a screensaver in this film is looked at in sort of a philosophical way.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And the internet plays a large part of that.
Right, which, around this time, a lot of those films were coming out about this new thing, the internet, and a lot of the movies were very, very bad. This one could have been very bad, but it took a different approach. It didn't make the internet this sort of big evil thing. It's just sort of a way in which for these ghosts to escape their realm.
And I think that's like almost like a natural response to the internet because you think about it, it's like back then the internet was like even wilder in some ways than it is now because it wasn't regulated. Like there was no one watching anyone, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's you know that one the character damn, fuck his name up again, man. Um Kawashima.
Yeah.
When he gets online and he goes to some bizarre web page where there's like, the imagery and he is like what have I gotten into here? Like what is this thing?
We've all had those moments.
Yeah, well, it's like that, and back then it's like, you find yourself in this place, and it's like, what actually is the fucking internet? And like that's kind of a big question of what this film kind of like presents to you is like, what is this passageway that we're connecting to, and where does it take us?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And this is what I think the whole like treatise of the film is like, okay, now we've opened up a doorway into this other realm, and this is where ghosts have been like be able to move into our reality more now.
Right. And like a lot of this was like sort of like the rules of the movie were very unclear to me. And like we said earlier, maybe it's best to just shut your brain off and take it in.
Yeah, that's the only way to really watch this movie. It's like you have to just kind of take everything in and just go off the vibes of it.
Yeah. Um, because the goals and intent don't seem entirely clear. Like they want to live in our world, but people are disappearing and people are committing suicide everywhere, all over the city. So I'm not really sure how that sort of ties into the overall bigger picture. But it does lead to what is sort of like an iconic shot in the movie now with the lady on the water tower.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things about Kawashima is the website that I mentioned went there automatically. Like it didn't, it's not like he
Yeah.
navigated his way to it, and then the images are just, people alone in dark rooms, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like kind of like actually, I think it's Kawashima. He has like another moment much later in the film where he helps someone with their car, and they talk about friends, and he's like, "Oh, I have a friend, maybe."
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
like I don't really have friends. Maybe I have one. I don't know
Right.
I don't really know much about her.
Yeah.
And stuff like this is really what the movie's all about. And then the fact that the things that we're seeing are these people sitting alone in dark rooms in front of screens.
Right. And you mentioned this sort of empty space in the movie. Again, like that's not just out in the city. Every scene, like in the library, it feels empty. Everywhere people go, it feels empty and that you're alone. Even though there might be a couple people around you, you're all alone. And the ghosts seem to be like there's a larger theme that death is loneliness, but
Oh
life is
yeah.
also loneliness.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's a thing where they're like death is like eternal loneliness.
yeah, which is such a frightening idea.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like I was saying, like the story almost is like a really sketch of what's going on, but like the things that it makes you think about are like way more, they overshadow the actual story.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Kiyoshi Kurosawa's interests really lied because in the film, because I feel like the characters in this are secondary, underdeveloped. Like
Very underdeveloped. Yeah.
you don't really get to know these people in a 2 hour film at all. Like it almost would have worked better as a series of vignettes, like The Grudge or something.
Yeah.
Um, but as they are, like they're just sort of like sketches of people, and you don't really know anything about them, or they're you get the sense of that they're all lonely and unhappy. I mean, this really feels more like a movie about like depression.
Well, what's
And
interesting too is like the way that it came when it came out, like the internet back in 2001, the
hmm,
internet definitely obviously existed, but
yeah,
it hadn't overtaken our society the way it did now, where now the internet and reality are so intertwined.
right, or not reality as it
Yeah.
should be.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
reality is almost like completely like subjective now, based on like what you look at on your phone or whatever. Like the
yeah,
reality that you live in now, like you're sitting in a room, like I'm sitting in a room, you're sitting in a room, we're both alone, but we're having this conversation. And this reality is like equal to the reality of what you see on YouTube and your phone and TikTok and everything, just to a lot of people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
kind of like this was like a look, maybe like a premonition that Kurosawa had of where all this stuff was taking us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it almost sort of reminds me of Videodrome in the way like they had things to say years and years and years before they would actually happen. Like Videodrome has people using avatars you know uh to say what they have to say, which obviously would become a big thing with the internet and people like
Yep.
having avatars and again this seems to predict that this thing is going to lead to more isolation and sadness.
Right. And now what I'm trying to think too is like I'm trying to remember back to 2001 or the late 90s and the internet. And it's like, there were no smartphones.
Nope.
There wasn't any there was no social media really, right?
Not that I know of. I mean, there were chat rooms and things like that, but
That was it.
in 2001, I didn't even have an email at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had an email, but I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't such a major part of my life as it is now, where I look at the news and navigation and like all this other stuff,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah. And like back then it was basically chat rooms and like message boards, really. Right? Message boards were a big thing in 2001, I think, right?
Yeah, and now most people get their news from going onto something like Twitter or
You know,
Facebook or and
patriotnews.com.
well, right, you get to create this reality for yourself that might not necessarily be the truth.
Yes, you curate a reality that is completely subjective and just reinforces the things that you want to have in your reality, basically.
Right, which would have been a very interesting way for this film to go, but obviously, couldn't predict that far ahead.
Yeah, yeah, it did. Yeah, now we're getting ahead of ourselves, but it's like,
Yeah,
but what it did predict is when Kawashima's first got online, the site that he was taken to was just people sitting alone in dark rooms. That's basically it, and it's like
no,
that's kind of how it is. It's like even though now there's all this like social media and people, like, you can get an app for pretty much anything, food delivered to you, like, you
yeah,
can go like hook up with chicks or whatever online and, order Amazon stuff and everything. But you're still basically by yourself, you know, especially now that's even more poignant post-pandemic,
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's in every facet of your life. Like around this time the film was made, you could still exist without an internet connection, and now your internet goes down and you're completely cut off from the world.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was like this precursor, this like premonition that Kurosawa had when, from the late 90s maybe when this first started hitting. Because like, back then, like I said, I didn't email, but no one was really emailing me except for like my friends or something, a couple people with email addresses. But it was like a novel thing to have like that access. And then maybe like the beginning of ordering stuff online,
Mm.
like maybe, you could order records or books or whatever, maybe.
Yeah, it was not the dominant way to order anything. I mean, God, this is the thing. Amazon was not this huge thing. I mean, it was a big deal back then, but not like it is today.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, And so that's like one point of this film that it made was like this creepy premonition of how things were going to end up, And I don't even think we've gotten to the point that this movie predicts, Like,
Right,
we're accelerating towards that point, I think, but it's like we're not quite there yet, with that. And
right.
then there's like the whole other ghost, the whole like weird tales aspect of this film that is another part of it where, you know, at some point in the movie there's like this mass like disappearance of people.
Yeah.
Like just people start disappearing. And it's all kind of like centered around this one particular region, the Kanto region of Tokyo. So
Yes.
that's almost like there's been like this hole in reality like ripped, and people are mass exiting this reality and passing into the world of ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. This yeah, people go missing through the internet. Again, seems like a prophecy. There's yeah, the movie has this. very apocalyptic vision and feel to it, and yet it's not what you think of when you think of apocalypse films. It's just this quiet sadness rather than this mass destruction. Although at the very end we do see, a plane on fire and some of that stuff. But this is very much a quiet apocalypse.
Yeah, and like these forbidden rooms that are hinted at, they're more of like that's I guess those are the points of where the you can pass between the veil, I guess.
Right. And it seems once you witness this, it's almost like a ring thing, like you're
Yeah.
touched, like you're going to disappear. Although it doesn't seem to affect Kawama as much, because when Yabe first enters the Forbidden Room, in a matter of, I guess, a days or a week, he's not acting the same once he's been there, and then he disappears. But it takes much longer. It doesn't seem to affect Kiwama. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. It doesn't seem to affect him that way. And I gotta point out, I'm wondering if some of this movie is lost in translation, because watching it last night, I noticed how awful the subtitles were.
Yeah, this is true.
I
Yeah.
watched a DVD of this that I got back in, I guess, 2005 or six, and I have to think that the actual dialogue is not that simple and quite frankly bad.
Well, yeah, I often I wonder the same thing, especially when I watch Japanese films, because like lately it seems like I've been really submerging myself into
Yeah,
these movies where it's like, with English, the subtleties of language, like I really feel like I wish I knew how to speak Japanese to experience these movies like in their native language and understand all the subtleties of language that they use.
I mean, I was just talking about this. A bad translation can completely change the tone of a film. Like the first time I saw Gozu, one of the characters is running around looking for Anarchy, and he keeps saying, "I miss Anarchy. I need to find my Anarchy." So it sort of implies a gay relationship between the two, like they're lovers.
Yeah.
The second time I saw it, it translated Anarchy to brother. So Anarchy
Oh,
wasn't the guy's name. It was the word for brother. So now I'm looking for my Anarchy versus I'm looking for my brother. Totally different thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if you remember this back when Let the Right One In came out on
Oh, yeah.
DVD. A lot of people were like, this feels like a different movie. What's going on? And going through message boards and things like that, we find out the translation, the subtitles for that DVD were quite bad.
Hmm.
Um, and that there's other versions you could get that had better subtitles. So now all of a sudden you're paying $60 for a foreign import of this movie just to have better subtitles.
Yeah, I gotta
So I,
check that out again. I haven't watched that movie in years.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know which one has the proper subtitles though, but I couldn't help but think about that watching this because the performances seem good, but the dialogue seems like this can't be what they're actually saying. This feels like an oversimplified version. And I'm wondering if I'm missing some of some richness to this film because of that.
Yeah, I read did you read the novel?
I did not know.
I mean, once again, it's a translation into English, but it's like I read the novel. It's a nice size book. Definitely
Yeah.
worth checking out, though.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when you see people with Japanese tattoos. Like, do you really know what what it says? What you have tattooed on you?
Yeah, it's just
Um,
like it means like strength and discipline,
yeah, but it really means hot dog or something.
Mm.
So yeah, I was thinking about that in the more like philosophical conversations that take place in this movie. Like, there's a great scene in the library. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie where the two people are having a conversation. In the background, there's someone just sitting in a chair facing the wall. And they never move. It is so creepy. And there's a presence there in the library. There's a guy always peering out from behind a bookshop, and no one can ever catch him. But they're having like this conversation where it's basically explaining what one guy thinks is happening. And it feels like it's a very interesting conversation, but what you're reading seems a little simple.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, So yeah, you touched on it earlier. The ghosts aren't evil. Like they're just basically, the echoes of people that once existed in this realm, in the ghost realm.
Right. They just want out of the ghost realm because it's lonely and
Yeah,
overcrowded but lonely.
yeah. And that's really it. It's like the quest for togetherness, to not be alone, like to avoid being alone. It's like what's causing these ghosts to come back into our reality. And then ironically, people are killing themselves because they want to escape being alone.
Right. Exactly. And but like, you would think these ghosts are coming into this world and but you don't really see them. There's one here, one there that a character will run into, but they're not overpopulating this new world. They're just here and you don't see them. It's like what do they want? They just don't want to be lonely. Like they don't want to be alive again. They just don't want to be sad and alone. And I feel that that's a very different angle to take for a ghost movie.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's the thing about a lot of Japanese films. Like their philosophical angle on everything is so different than ours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a very Japanese film.
Yeah.
I I'd be curious to see what the I don't remember a thing about the remake, but I'm sure they completely misread it.
Yeah, the ghosts are probably it's like this zombie invasion from like the ghost realm. I don't know.
Yeah, and it probably has like a techno soundtrack, and
Yeah.
I know they did recreate that iconic shot, which I mean, it's such an incredible shot of like, the camera's just fixed and you see in the background someone up on a water tower and they just jump and splat to their death. It makes you wonder how they did it.
Yeah.
Um, it's a great shot, but I would imagine the remake is more like, well, that was cool. Do more stuff like that.
Yeah. And like, the main character's got like shredded abs and stuff.
Yeah, and like there's a countdown to something, and they're trying to fight the ghosts, and they have to blow something up. But yeah, I'm sure it's something like that. I'm sure it's not as philosophical and deep as this. I mean, it was a Weinstein Brothers production for their like Dimension films, so you know, you could
Yeah.
just a lot of those films were not good.
Well, I mean, dude, I fuck with Dimension films though, man. The Dimension Extreme, man, brought us some good films. I think at least.
Those were made beforehand, though.
Yeah, that's true. They brought us some good
Yeah,
content. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But a lot of Dimension films, I know a lot of filmmakers had a lot of problems making films over at that studio. Of course, Wes Craven himself made a werewolf movie that was butchered and reshot, re-edited, complete mess. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Curse, but it is quite bad.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's not good. And I don't think that's Wes Craven's fault.
Yeah.
But
No, and of course, like people were getting touched over there and exposed in front of
yeah,
them.
a lot of bad things happening, behind the scenes, of course, which we would later come to find out about Mr. Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
assignment to you guys. It's like anyone out there who has seen the remake or the sequels, please message us or call us and let us know what they're all about.
yeah, I'm very, very curious. Like I said, I remember I did watch it, but I don't remember a thing about it. I was probably on the internet fucking around while I was watching it. Um, so yeah, this has like no big conclusion or anything like that. It's just these two different stories sort of come together in this empty warehouse, and it ends on a very ambiguous note on this boat with what's her name? Mimi or me?
It's Michi.
Michi on a
Yeah.
boat with her only friend left in the world, this guy she just met, the captain. And they're sailing away to South America or something,
Yeah.
trying to see what else is out there. And there's no big fight at the end. There's no big epic explosion or anything. It's just this quiet, sort of somber ending.
Yeah, and the captain tells her, "Oh, you've done right by wanting to continue to live," basically.
Right.
So
Um,
yeah, it's kind of like good that you didn't kill yourself like everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah. And you also are left to wonder why some people did, why some people didn't, why did some people disappear and other people didn't. I feel like that whole part of it is missing, but then again, maybe that's not really the point. Again, you're just sort of better to just take it in and think about it. And I'm sure I'll watch this movie again and maybe I'll have a clearer picture. But on this third viewing, it wasn't completely clear to me. I still found myself a little confused by the movie.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think like you touched on something about the translations. Like it would be great if there was like maybe better translations out there that picked up on some of the subtlety of what was being said. However, a lot of this is dialogue free too.
That's
So,
true.
so it's like either you can go either way with that. It could either be like, well, the dialogue is not that important, or maybe the dialogue that exists is really important and we're just kind of missing some of it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if this. I don't know if there is some big special edition of this. Um,
I think Arrow put out a version of this, so
okay, they do a
yeah,
good job.
we'll see. I got my
Yeah,
order.
I'd be curious to see just, a different disc and see if the dialogue seems better. Because, like sometimes these films, these like especially foreign films, like they just get kind of put out with like not a ton of thought and effort put into it. And this film has become like a more, I guess, important film in horror, but maybe at the time I don't really think it was really thought of too much. Whereas now more people know about it and put it in such high regard.
What do you give it as a score?
Give it a four.
Yeah,
Um,
I come in with a 4 too, man. Good.
yeah, like I think the first time I saw it, I was just in love with it. And again, I wasn't really trying to follow it. I was just sort of taking it in. Um, but yeah, I landed on a four. I feel like the movie feels a little almost too incomplete and underthought, like just not fully fleshed out. But it's so interesting and such a great take on all of this that I mean, this is one of Kiyoshi Kurosawa's better films. It's not quite Cure. It's not at that level, but it's very good
Yeah,
and it's very interesting. It has something to say and it is definitely worth a watch.
like I said before, I give it a 4. I love the concept in this film. I
Yeah.
like the kind of brooding, like bleakness of it, and the use of liminal spaces and just all that stuff makes the film just like this like completely dreary, dread-filled experience.
Yeah, it is 100% more about the atmosphere than about what is actually like
Yeah.
than the story. And think about the films about the internet that were coming out at the time and how much better this is than those. And like, fear.com and the net with
Strange Land.
yeah, Strangeland. Yeah, like it was just pretty much garbage. And and then you get this sort of a diamond in the rough.
Yeah. It's it's just it's very philosophical, and I dig that. And it's like, not overtly scary, but it plays more on dread, and I'm really into that. And yeah, my only criticisms, and I would like to have had more development with the characters. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that may or may not be necessary, but I would like to have seen that more.
Totally, absolutely. Um, Interesting enough, too, Kiyoshi Kurosawa never brought into the Hollywood system, really. He's never made an American film that I know of.
Yeah, not that I know of either. I don't think he ever came over here for anything.
Yeah, and he had two bigger horror films under his belt, but he's still chugging away making films in Japan. Some of them are available here and some of them aren't. Everything I've seen by him is at least good.
Yeah.
Um, all of it very slow. This is very much his film visually, like they're not like very long takes. Not a lot of jump scares, but leaves you more thinking than most horror films. And I mean, I would just say pick anything of his films and watch it. It'll be worth your time.
It's what I recommend though, especially if you like this kind of stuff where it's like
Yeah, oh yeah.
conceptual and if you're into weird fiction and like yeah, it has like a Joel Lane kind of vibe to it or
Hmm.
like a Thomas Ligotti or something where it's like dreadful, and there's barely anything going on at times.
Exactly. Yeah, it's you can read a Ligotti story and you're like, well, nothing really happened, but it's creepy.
Yeah.
This is very much in that wheelhouse.
Have you ever read any of Joel Lane's stories?
I don't think I have. He might be in a collection or two that I have, and I have a bunch of short story collections, but nothing is jumping out.
He's one of my favorites, honestly.
You
It's like barely horror at times.
know? Hmm.
It's like you read the short stories, especially. He's a British guy. He passed away in the 90s.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, he's like very much. It's like you can picture the characters in the stories listening to like Joy Division and wearing like black overcoats and smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
totally know what you mean.
and then his novella, All the Witnesses Are Gone, is probably his best.
Okay.
Yeah, that one that's highly recommended that one too. I recommended that to uh the podcast Better Than Food.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he actually covered it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
not familiar with that podcast.
oh dude, that's like great YouTube BookTube podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's it's not just horror, it's like any type of literature, fiction, um, really cool. It's all YouTube.
Okay. Better than food. I just wrote that down.
Yeah. It's Clifford Sargent is the guy who hosts it, and I had him on as a guest on Everything Went Black.
Okay.
And great guy, excellent guy, and really cool, very knowledgeable. He does a really good job of breaking down variety of different types of books. Like I've learned about a lot of authors through watching this show. And when he was on the podcast, like we stay in touch, and I recommended the book, the Joel Lane book to him, and he's like, "Oh, check it out." And then like 3 months later, he did an episode on it.
Look at that, man.
Yeah.
You're an influencer.
I hate that word.
All right. Well, check that out and also check out this film and let us know what you think.
All right, guys. See you. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Bye now.